What's the thing?
It's saying I can't start my video because host has stopped it.
Uh-oh. Okay. I've got to allow Ray to actually share his video. Okay, Ray, you should be able to do that now. And here comes Ray. Yes? Woohoo! There he is.
I'm on the air. Hi, everybody.
He's here.
Hey, Nathan in Perth. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning from down under. How you doing?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. And this is your gig today because you are the SEO guru. But I just want to firstly introduce you. Or Rebecca, are you going to introduce Nathan?
Take it away.
Yep. Okay. Nathan sent me an awesome bio about the stuff he's done, but essentially, long story short, in his photography business, he wasted a truckload of money. He spent actually more money that he hired more people to help him with search engine optimization. Then he had to fire them. Then he had to hire somebody to undo all the crappy work that they did. Right. So every day I hear about people trying to get involved in search and get organic search going for them. I'm talking organic, not paid. Right. There's a few things here, but Rebecca introduced me to Nathan a few weeks back, and I said, look, my people are going to love this. My real estate people that I work with, and I know that we've all kind of drawn in our own people here from everywhere, but I just want to say I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to listen to I love the little video you did, Nathan. And I know that in Perth you built a massive photography business basically on SEO and Google search alone. So, and guys, if you hang around, Nathan's going to share, he's going to tell you how you can download a special, the webinar worksheet, so you can give your whole business a little overview as to whether you're kicking goals or not. Now, one thing, and I know Nathan's probably going to get into this and I don't want to ruin his thunder, but one big thing about this is that you don't need to be a mega agent. You don't need to be a household name, a brand or anything to do this. Anybody can do it. But from where I sit, about 99% of agents are not doing it. So here's an awesome opportunity to jump in and learn from one of the best. And Nathan, welcome.
Yep.
Thank you, Ray.
And I'll just do my very small little piece in there. As most of you know, actually, well, who know me, but those of you who don't know, I'm not a real estate agent. And one of the reasons why I'm so excited to have Nathan here is because I also see tremendous value, even in the non-real estate world, because I know there's a couple of people here that are not in real estate. And I'm excited about this because I pay $1,500 a month to an SEO company. And I'm like, do I need to do that anymore? I'm not so sure. So I am extremely excited, Nathan, to hear what you have to say. Uh-oh, Ray, I think you're hitting your microphone there. It's okay. So I'm extremely excited, Nathan, to hear what you have to say to us this evening. There is a tremendous amount of money that can be saved and a tremendous amount of business that can be won. So for those of you who are looking to get new leads, you want to do lead generation, you want to get brand recognition, you want to be found on page 1 because no one goes to page 2. This is your time to shine. So Nathan, I give you the floor.
Excellent. Hey, everybody. So it's 8 a.m. in the morning here in Perth. So wherever you are in the world. And I think it was Tony. I want to join you in Narnia because that sounds like a really cool place to be.
That's Tony.
Yeah, that's Tony. Hey, Tony. The thing is, guys, SEO, a lot of people think it is so hard. And the thing is that it's the SEO people who are pretending or making it so hard or making you think it's so hard. I cracked the code. And it's actually not that hard to do. It just takes some consistent effort. So today I'm going to teach you the 4 pillars of SEO, and we're going to jump in and kind of dig into that a little bit. But what I'm really into is implementation. So what I want you guys to be able to do by the end of this webinar today is implement on your website, because I want you guys to see improvements in your ranking. I want you to get to page 1. Now, there's a bit of a joke in the industry. If you had to hide a dead body, where would you put it? You put it on page 2 of Google because nobody goes there. So sorry for my bad joke. But honestly, on Google, you've got the paid search up the top. Then often you'll have a map, and then you have the organic listings. organic listing number 1 to 5 gets 65% of the clicks that come to Google. So that's including the paid stuff, it's including the map. 1 to 5 gets 65%. So if you're not on 1 to 5, you are eliminating 65% of your potential search, even if you're paying for it. And the stats on paid ads, Google are very secretive about that because they want you to think if you pay for it, you'll get more clicks, but it sits somewhere around 10 to 20% of people will only click, so will never click, sorry. Only 10 to 20% of people will click on a paid ad. So 80% of people will never click on a paid ad. So if your strategy is just to pay for it, you are eliminating 80% of your potential market. So how do we get between 1 and 5? How do we get you organically on 1 to 5? Now, we promised you in the marketing for this webinar to tell you the one thing that 95% of people don't do. So let me jump in. I want to make this implementable straight away. So the one thing that 95% of people don't do, okay, they don't tag their photos correctly. It's really that simple. So how do you tag a photo? Okay, when you take a photo and you have a photo ready to go on your website, the photo has a file name. So if you're looking in your computer, it might be D3507.jpg. That's the file name that's come out of the camera. Lazy web designers will just change the name to image 1, photo 1, etc. Now, that tells Google nothing about what the photo is. Image 1 means absolutely nothing. So I know there's a lot of real estate agents on the call. You guys are uploading 15 photos per house that you're selling or leasing, and every one of those photos has the opportunity to be named so that when people are searching Google, they are getting keywords that you want them to come to your website with. So if you're not a real estate agent, think about it in relation to your business. What are the words that you want to rank for in Google? What are those terms that people are typing in and you want to come up on page 1? I'm going to go back to the real estate agents. So you listed a property this week and you're about to put 15 photos on Google. You could have, say it's 43B Wellington Street, Parkwood. You could call it 43 Wellington. And you could do 43 Wellington 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, what does that mean? It means something to you because it identifies it as Wellington Street, that property. But what if you put 43W, that's your identifier, and then you named it Kitchen, and then the suburb Parkwood. And then you put the next one, Living Room Parkwood. What you're going to do by naming the photos like that is you're going to bring the word Parkwood into your potentially searchable terms on that web page again and again and again, 15 times. You're also bringing a secondary keyword, kitchen, living, lounge, etc. So straight away, when the Google Spider comes and has a look at that new part of your web page, they are seeing a key search term, the suburb, again and again and again. What that tells to Google is you are obviously talking about that suburb. So when somebody searches, Google already knows that that page is talking more about that suburb. And that's just the file name. There's actually 3 places that you can put keywords in an image. And again, 95% of people don't do this. So if you're a real estate agent and you're going, whoa, okay, that's one place. If you've got an assistant or somebody in the office who does the uploads for you, tell them this. When you upload a photo, and I don't know what kind of web that you use in regards to putting the photos online, WordPress or Wix, or you might have a specific one. When you upload them, you have the opportunity to put an alt tag, an ALT tag. So in the old days of web, if a photo didn't load because the internet was at 56 kps, up would come some words. You get that little X and the words would come up. That's your alt tag. Now, alt tags are used by people with vision disabilities, and they have a screen reader kind of program that reads the information on the screen and reads it to them audibly. So those alt tags describe the photo to somebody who can't see it. they also describe the photo to Google. So you've got your image name, and we're calling it 43BW, living room, Parkwood. Now you've got your alt tag. So in your alt tag, you're going to write you might put living room photo or living room Parkwood, or you don't want it to be too long. It needs to be 4 or 5 words.
Nathan, sorry, quick question, just while you're on that topic. Tony from Narnia
Yes.
has asked, would it make sense to include something like home for sale Narnia in addition to, say, kitchen or what have you? And does the length of the file name matter? And I believe you just answered that question. There's like about 4 words is what we're looking for. So I just wanted to ask that specific question from Tony.
There is a limit of characters. It's 120 characters. Now, Tony, you're absolutely right. Again, I said I wanted to join you in Narnia. The more specific you can be, the better. So home for sale, yes. But because you've got 3 areas, I'm going to go, ignore pillars of SEO. Let's jump into this a little bit. So you have the file name. Then you have the alt. Then you have the description. So the description is the chance to get even more specific. So that's where you would put home for sale, because in your description, you have longer time or more characters to be able to describe what the photo is. So the alt tag is meant to be a quick description, and then the description of the photo is meant to fill it in more detail. So home for sale, absolutely, but you want these 3 to be different for every photo. So there's a saying in the industry, if you don't lie to Google, you got nothing to worry about. One SEO expert about 7 years ago said to me that I should put the alt tag and the description the same for every photo. And that would be, like you, home for sale Hamilton. So home for sale Hamilton, home for sale Hamilton. Google, the computer, the spider, comes and looks at it and goes, why is the description for every photo the same? Surely every photo on the page is not the same. So this is where you get to challenge the person who does your uploads for you to get a little bit creative. So you might put living room, 5-bedroom home, Hamilton. And then in the next photo, you might put kitchen, home for sale, Hamilton. And then you might put in the next photo, pool or home with pool, for sale, Hamilton. So you see how you're mixing it around? Is that kind of good? Yeah.
What about real estate agent Hamilton?
Absolutely. So
that's probably a higher traffic search, isn't it? I guess, maybe, I don't know.
Absolutely. So I guess what I'm kind of suggesting straight away is that you have the word Hamilton or your local area. So Ray, you've actually jumped ahead. When we get to one of the pillars of SEO, I'm going to talk about real estate. So the term real estate agent. So Hamilton is kind of our area that we would be focusing on. We would love to have the word real estate agent, but as long as it's relevant to the photo. So what Google doesn't want is a photo of, say, a living room, and then the alt tag and the description. Again, if you lie to Google, you're going to get caught out. So use those words, but try and make it relevant. So if the photo of the house, and you wanted to put, you could put real estate for sale, Hamilton. You could put, say 1 of 15, you could put real estate agent, but I wouldn't do it for all of them.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Got another quick question here while we're here.
Becky, you've muted yourself. Sorry, Ray, you go.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Katrina asks, do you put an underscore between each word or space?
Absolutely. So, so in your file name, I would normally keep it to 2, maximum 3 words. I did some research on this, and you can have long file names. They just get a bit messy. So try and be specific. In your alt tags, you don't have to, because it's to be read. So it's real text. And same in your descriptions. That's real paragraph text. So you only put a underscore in the file name.
Gotcha.
And sorry, while I was muting myself and talking to myself, Melanie asks, would you name it Best Agent as well? So could that help if people are searching for like Best Agent in Parkwood? So that's her answer.
Great. So this is a whole thing that we're seeing in Google, and it's a trend for 2019. And it's things like the word best or near me is the other term. So of course you're not going to put in your description, you know, property near me. Google knows where the person is when they are doing the search. So that's why I kind of focused on the suburb or the area that you're trying to hit as so important, because when somebody is doing a search near me, it's the suburb stuff or the area stuff that's going to pop up there. So best agent, absolutely. On every house that you upload, I'm not sure I would put best agent. I would focus that on your profile picture. So for example, if you're in an office and you know there's multiple people, have a page, a profile page for every person in your business. And the more text you put on that page, the more Google has to read about you. So tell a little bit of your story. So I would always suggest around 300 or more words. Now, the interesting thing is only 15 to 20% of the text of your website will ever get read. So if you have 300 words, they're going to read 60 to 100 max. If you have 1,000 words, they're going to read 200 to 300. And it's really interesting to look at the curve on that, and it stays the same no matter how many words. So the more words, again, you don't want to babble, you don't want to do it just for Google, but the more specific words and the more keywords that you can tie into those words, the more Google's got to go on you. And that's where I would alt tag best agent and your area on the photos of you on that page. Now, if you just have one photo of you and then lots of text, that's cool. But what if you had a photo of you, some text, and then a couple more photos down the bottom? Then you get more opportunities to talk about you. And you might just say, you know, Rebecca, real estate agent, Hamilton, for example, as the description or the alt tag of those photos down the bottom, because you get more chances to tell Google what you're talking about. I hope that helps.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's great. I think we better move into your content because we've just blown our first 15 minutes.
Yeah. Great.
But I can tell people are jumping into that. So that's excellent. So guys, let me jump in and teach you the 4 pillars of SEO. So if you are like me, and these guys said, I came from a photography background. So I had a portrait studio with 4 staff. And so I understand what it's like to try and rank in a really highly competitive market. You know, every man and his dog has a camera and thinks they're a photographer. And I'm sure in your industry, whether that be real estate or whatever, you're in the same situation. And still today, I'm getting 6, 7 spam emails a day telling me that my website's not up to scratch and that they want to do SEO for me. So I'm sure you guys are like that. So I'd like you to have the confidence to know that you can delete those spam emails knowing that they're lying to you. And I also get phone calls every day saying my website's not up to scratch. So I have some fun with them. Anyway, let's jump into 4 pillars of SEO. Now, if you've got a pen and paper, you might want to scribble some of this down, because remember, I want you guys to be actionable. I want you guys to be able to do something at the end of today. So straight away, you guys are going to have a look at the way you name your photos. That's one thing you're going to do. Let's go into this. So for me, it's a triangle and then one extra thing are the 4 pillars of SEO. So the first pillar of SEO is that your website must be relevant. Hope you guys can see that there. So think about yourself. When you guys are on Google and you type in a search term, up comes a whole lot of answers from Google, and you're reading the blue headline, you're seeing the URL or their www, and then you're seeing the description about that web page. You have 1.9 seconds to get that click. So if your web page is relevant to the person who's searching, you're going to get that click. Now, Google are a business, just like you're a business. and they want to show the most relevant information to their customers, because all of us as search users are Google's customers. Now, they make money by the paid search and other things, but they don't want to show irrelevant content. So if the first page of Google was filled with stuff that wasn't relevant to your search, you have the option to go and use Bing or one of the other search engines. So Google need it to be relevant. So the more relevant your page is to the customer, the higher ranking you're going to get. So that's pillar number 1 of SEO. Pillar number 2 is your page must be current. So who wants to read last week's newspaper? Obviously not. Same with your website. If your website was built and you haven't touched it for 2 years, then it's not current. And not being current means that Google has no incentive to show it to their users. So in keeping your website current, you actually keep it relevant. So they kind of stack on top of each other. So being current, a lot of people say to me, well, how current is current? Okay, so in the Olympic Games, to win a gold medal, you don't have to set a world record. You've just got to be faster than number 2. So currency, or being current, is all relative. If you have a news website, for example, so guys, think about when Notre Dame was burning. If you guys were on your phones kind of wanting to get the latest news, and up the top there was news story 6 minutes ago, news story an hour ago, which one did you click on? You probably clicked on the 6 minute ago one, because it was the most recent information. It was the most current and probably the most relevant to what you wanted to learn. Now, you guys are probably not a news agency. You're either real estate agents or small business or whatever. So you're not having to be every 6 minutes current like a news website would have to be. But you do have to be more current than your competition. My minimum for being current is once a month. If you change something on your website once a month, then that is a good kind of baseline. It'd be nice to do it more often, but we've got to be realistic. We're in business. We don't have the time. But, okay, I'll talk to agents again. You guys are uploading new properties and new photos to your website on a very regular basis. I want you to think about being current, not just by putting new stuff on your website, but things like your bios and your suburb profiles and the other information that you're giving your customers. So, yeah, obviously every agent is uploading new properties all the time, but how current are your suburb bios or your agent bios or your profiles? That's the kind of stuff that you need to focus on in currency. So pillar number 4, the bottom, completing the triangle, is quality. What do I mean by quality? So Google wants your website to be built to the industry standard. It needs to be quality. So for example, how does it look on a mobile phone? So about 18 months ago, Google made this huge switch to favor websites that looked correct on a mobile phone. So they stacked, they're adaptable to mobile devices. A massive amount of search is moving from PCs to mobile devices. So quality is things like, is your website secure? So look up in the top corner, HTTP, and it should have an S there. All that means is that whatever you type into the website is a secure link between your computer and the web server. Basically, it protects the user. So if your website isn't HTTPS, if it's not secure, then Google look at that and give you a bit of a negative score. If it's not mobile friendly, they give you a bit of a negative score. If it's not built to the industry standard, e.g. it doesn't have alt tags, it doesn't have descriptions, they give you a bit of a negative score. So it's got to be built with quality. So as we finish the triangle,
Nathan,
are you in charge? Sorry, yep.
Before you go past, there's some really good questions just about what you were just talking about from Jennifer. So she says she has a company that she pays to build or host her website. Are there any particular updates you would recommend? And now I know sort of from my Canadian perspective, and sometimes in the US as well, there's a lot of web companies that sort of spew content, not spew content, but they provide content, but it's the same content on multiple websites.
Okay.
Is that good? Do you have any recommendations? Just really quickly, because I know we're still trying to move through this.
Yeah.
And then I have one more question once you answer that one.
Okay, so that was two questions. So the first one was duplicate content.
Yes.
Duplicate content, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, sucks.
Sorry about that.
The reason is Google want original stuff. They want relevant stuff. So if the same content is spewed on the same website, on multiple different websites, Google go, well, who wrote this content? Who created this content? Who is it relevant to? So personal example, I had an employee, hope this never happens to anyone else, had an employee who went off and started their own photography studio. Now he was from overseas and his English wasn't the best. So when he was creating his website, he went to my website and a couple of others and he copied exactly the text off my website down to the reviews I had from my customers.
Oh no!
Yeah. And he opened his business in the same city as me with exactly the same text. Now, one of those SEO experts went and did a search and discovered this exact duplicate content, word for word. And they said to me, Nathan, do you have a second website? Because some people will have a website under one brand. So for example, if you're a real estate agent, you'll have the company you work for, but then you might have your own personal website under your own kind of agent name. And you would copy the content across to both websites. That's duplicate websites. And Google, back in the day, people would do that before Google got smart, and you would have both ranked on the front page. Yay! Google got smart and went, nah, we're not going to have that duplicate content. So duplicate content hurts you in regards to the quality. Really quickly though, just because somebody is writing something for you doesn't mean it's useless, because you now have that as a framework to change a few words around, move a few paragraphs around, quickly rewrite it, and then it's not duplicate content. So they're spewing it out for all the rest of your competition. You got it, you changed it, you then re-uploaded it, and it's unique.
Okay, so you can still take the sort of the template, but then make it unique, and then Google will consider it fresh. Now, you know, the other part of the question was like, what kind of content? Is that like just really, I don't want to get us off topic too much. You know, can you mention that something quickly, or what we could also do, guys, because a lot of questions coming through, there will be a Q&A at the end. And just to make sure that we keep this going, what we might want to do is hold some of these questions until the end. So Ray and I are watching the questions. I'm going to make sure, I'll speak for myself, but you know, we'll be writing these questions down, and then we'll be coming back to some of the bigger ones. So do you want to take that one question of like, what would be considered good content to post, and maybe have a broader conversation at the end, just so that we can continue with your pillars?
Absolutely. So on being current, a lot of people say you got to blog. Blogging. How many blogs is enough? Well, think about the news website. You only have to do more than your closest competitor. So spewing content for content's sake is what a lot of these SEO companies that you pay to do, that's what they do. They just verbal diarrhea all over the internet, and it's never meant to be read. There is something like, and I have to check my notes, but some like 4 million blog posts made every day, some ridiculous amount. You know, people aren't going to read that. So when we talk about blogging, and let me actually, that's a great segue into the fourth pillar of SEO. Make sure I fit it on the screen here. So the fourth pillar of SEO is authority. So these three happen on your website. So you keep your website relevant, you keep it current, you make sure it's built with quality. The fourth pillar is authority. So in your industry, Google want to see you as an authority. Now, how do they do that? Again, let's go back 10, 15 years ago. It was all about links. So other websites that sent a link to your website meant that if you had 100 people linking to you, that you had authority. What Google did was they got smart to that, because people would just buy links all over the world. There were what we call link farms or link pages in Russia, in Africa, and it didn't matter. A link was a link was a link. Google went, no, hang on. I want to focus on the quality of the links. So suddenly somebody who had multiple hundreds of links, but they were all from cheap link farms, Google started to give them negative kind of weighting, and people dropped off. I dropped off the front page of Google because of bad linking. So in building authority, quality is better than quantity when it comes to links, and it's exactly the same when it comes to blogs. So whatever industry that you are in, think about the peak body. So if I was to talk about photography, here in Australia, the peak body is the Australian Institute of Professional Photography, or maybe, you know, Australian Photographer magazine. If I wrote a blog and I got that blog put on the AIPP website with a link back to my page, Google look at that and they go, right, the AIPP has a lot of authority in that industry, and thus that link to me is worth a heck of a lot more than a link from some website in Russia that's got nothing to do with what I do. So to answer the question about blogging and spewing content, focus on quality and make sure that content is divided between your website that keeps your website current and quality websites specific to your industry and preferably close to your area, because those links back to you are going to be current, they're going to be relevant, and they're going to give you authority. Do you see how these four pillars, like you can't have one without the other because they talk to each other? They're really, you've got to think about them in the way of four. The other thing I like to say about SEO, guys, is you can't think about it in isolation, because are you writing that blog to rank better on your website, or are you writing that blog to serve the customer with something they want to know? Because if you're just writing it to rank better, it's not going to do its job. You've got to have the right motive, and then the byproduct of that is doing better on SEO. So if I got a blog or an article published in a magazine, great. The number one is to get it in that magazine and get the publicity from that magazine. The byproduct is I get that authority link back to my page, which then boosts my SEO. So think about it. It's good for SEO, but it's great for other stuff as well. I hope that kind of answers that question. Do we want to keep going or more questions?
Well, there's been a couple of questions actually. If I might just take a pause here. So again, I believe it was Jen who was asking like what would be considered good content. You've kind of gone pretty far in answering that question already. So again, it's helpful. It serves the client. So, you know, kind of behooves us to understand who it is we're serving, what is relevant to them. And I always call it like the hopes, dreams, and nightmares. It's not just, you know, are they married with 2 kids, a dog and a canary, right? It goes much deeper than that. So, you know, do you have strategies for how people can come up with content? I've got a couple of ideas I can share, but this is your game. So
no stress. I'm open to other ideas. I have 2 answers there. So what is good content? Is it Seth Godin that says the smallest possible viable market? So think about one blog post for one possible market. So again, let's talk about real estate agents. Here in Australia, there it is. Yep, this is marketing, Seth Godin. Think about who your market is. So if you're trying to get listings, your market is homeowners ready to sell their house. But you need to find buyers for that house. So in the area that I grew up in, there's a large Asian population. It has 2 of the best high schools in Western Australia. And we have a huge market in Asia for people wanting to move to those 2 suburbs so that their kids can go to those high schools.
Yeah.
Now, if I was trying to sell a house in those areas, I would write a blog specifically about those 2 schools. And I would market that blog to my Asian potential buyers. Because the other thing is, in Asia, I've got both people who want to move, but also people who want to buy investment properties. So I'm focusing on, say, Malaysia and Singapore, specifically writing about the qualities of these schools in this area. Now, once I've written that blog, I then have that content to post on my social media. So I get this kind of multiple linking thing. So that blog is not necessarily going to be relevant to everybody. Not everybody's going to read it, but people who want to know the key scores about that school and why living in this area matters to get into that catchment and what the boundaries are. If you're on that side of this street, sorry, you're in that next catchment. All of that information is super detailed. It's super location, actually, which brings me to another point. And it's super relevant to the person who wants to read it. So it's quality and it gives you authority. Does that help?
Yep. And you said you're going to talk about location too.
Yes. So in regards to location, now you guys are on this webinar. There's a stack of real estate agents and other businesses. In regards to real estate, I've done a fair bit of research looking at various real estate agents, mostly around Perth, but looking at kind of large areas that people would search for, kind of regions. What about all the other real estate agents that are hearing this exact webinar? Do you have to worry about being in competition with them? And the answer is, guys, no, because most of you are focused on one region of your city. So out of the, however many people are on this webinar, they're not in competition with you because they're not trying to pull buyers from, say, if I'm, again, in Perth, I use Perth suburbs. Rockingham is like 40 k's south of the city and Joondalup's 25 k's north. If I'm an agent in Joondalup, I don't care what's going on in Rockingham. They can do all the marketing they want. My customers are in Joondalup. And if somebody searches for real estate agent Joondalup who lives in Rockingham, the key word is Joondalup, I'm going to come up. I only focus on Joondalup and those suburbs. So you need to think about it in a bit of a kind of macro environment. You need to think about ranking for your area. So, what's the old saying? Location, location, location. Think about how big your business, or what area your business serves. Again, if you're not a real estate agent, think about what area your business serves. Do you need to rank for the whole city? So for the city of Perth. Now, as a photographer, I focused on the whole city. In fact, we focused on the whole state. So we had a lot of area to cover. Western Australia is about as big as Texas for the Americans who don't kind of know how big the place is here. But I wrote very specific blogs on very specific areas. So I wasn't a wedding photographer, but if you were a wedding photographer and you were working in a venue that, you shot the wedding and it was a reception venue and you did a case study on one particular wedding that you had shot in that venue, that gives you the opportunity to name that venue multiple times, to name parts of that venue. So for example, if brides are searching for that venue, they come to your case study, which is a beauty. You've got great photography, you've got the bride and groom story, you've got the locations where you shot. It gives you authority in saying that you're a great photographer for that venue. So, okay, you might want to focus on the whole state, but now you've got a blog on one location. Helpful?
Yep. That's great. I'm keeping an eye on the chat here. A couple of the questions that came through. Social media. So it used to be, correct me if I'm wrong, a while ago, what you posted on social media did get indexed onto Google. So if you posted like a blog to Facebook or you linked from Facebook back to your blog, that would help you with your authority. Is that still the case, or has that been a little bit put to the side?
It's still the case. So it's probably not as direct as it was. Google doesn't own Facebook. And so can Google index Facebook? Yes and no. They have little, sometimes yes, sometimes no. So what I'd like to say there is, in regards to SEO, we kind of have this circle. So ultimately the whole idea, SEO is about bringing your website traffic. Ultimately, you want people to land on your website. So the more traffic that you get, Google goes, oh, that must be a good website. So they give you a higher ranking in the search engines.
Okay, now, so if you use social media to drive traffic to your blog, that's good because it drives traffic and gets people looking.
Exactly.
Okay.
So again, personal example from my photography studio, we ran a modeling information night where we had about 30 potential models come and hear about how to get into the modeling industry. We had a special at the end and people could book to have a modeling portfolio. So we did about a $400 Facebook kind of promotion. We had a whole lot of people land on the registration page, which was on our website, wasn't in Facebook. So what we did from that was we took them from, so we had the Facebook ad, we drove them to our website. Sorry for my scroll here, guys. We drove them to our website so that they could register. They registered, but also on that web page, we said, hey, you're interested, come and have a look at the modeling portfolio page on our website. So what it did was it drove traffic to the landing page, the registration page, but a percentage of those people also went to our main modeling page. 2 weeks or 3 weeks after the night, we had a huge number of inquiries coming from our modeling page, but we'd stopped paying the Facebook ads. The night was over, but we suddenly had this wave of inquiry. What had happened was Google went, this modeling page got a whole lot of hits. It got a whole lot of people looking at it. It must be quality. It must be authority. It must be worth showing.
So if we use internal links, that also helps us?
Too many good questions coming from you, Rebecca.
Absolutely. Oh, it's not me. This is from other people. I'm not taking any credit for this.
So in that case, we rode a wave of modeling inquiries for about the next 2 months because of the amount of traffic we paid to drive to that page. So paid can work with SEO as well. So to answer that next question, internal linking. So, okay, so in regards to authority, I'll jump a little sideways and then I'll come back. I'm conscious of time.
Okay.
A lot of these SEO companies, they kind of ignore the triangle because they think it's all about working off your website. It's all about working in the web itself. So they're trying to build your authority most of the time and they neglect the triangle. And that's why I focus on the triangle because it's what you guys can do straight away. With the authority, they're trying to drive traffic from external, but internal links work really well as well. So on your page, so for example, I'm going to use my photography site because it's just simple. We had a newborn. So we had our page about newborn photography. Now at the bottom, so we had a picture, we had some text, we had another picture, we had some text, blah, blah, blah. At the bottom of that page, we had 3 options. One of those, if they're looking at newborn photography, was pregnancy. Whoop. Looks like graffiti. Pregnancy. So at the bottom of the newborn page, if you're looking at newborn, you're probably pregnant. So it's relevant for us to link to our pregnancy page. So that's an internal link. So when you write a blog, you want at least 2 links in the blog. Don't confuse people. Don't put 10 links in the blog. Keep it relevant. And people ask me here, what about external links? Does it serve the customer? Then absolutely. So for example, we talked about doing a blog about that particular school. If you're talking about that school, it is relevant to have a link that goes to that school's website. Google will look at that and go, it's about serving the customer. So if you didn't have that link, it would almost be like, well, you're being selfish. Mm-hmm. So having that link, and you can set it up in the back end of your website to be open in a new window, so you're keeping them on your website, that kind of stuff. But having that link there, even though you're taking them off your website, it's serving the customer. So think about internal linking. So the other 2, for example, for us, was this one was, well, what artwork could they buy? So at the end of your photo shoot, what are you going to buy? And this bottom one was a video, and probably off the screen there, sorry guys, explaining a little bit more about the process. Okay. So from that newborn page, we had 2 relevant links to other pages on our website. So think about your website in a way of, well, what is relevant? What links to other pages? When you write a blog, how do you link that back? So for example, real estate agents, here's your profile. At the bottom of your profile, you have my listings. You probably already have that, but then people can go and check out your listings. Things like that.
Cool. Thanks, Nathan. I'll let you carry on with your content. That was really helpful.
No worries. Let me just see, because we've jumped around. I think we've covered a fair bit. Okay, what I want to do. the three mistakes that most people make trying to increase their Google traffic. Mistake number one, they pay for ads. So again, if you guys are real estate agents and you Google real estate agent and your area, you'll probably see the paid ads up the top are really big boys. Those clicks, just to click on that, may cost anywhere between $6 and $30 a click to get somebody to go to those pages. Now, if you've got that budget, great. Remember, the stats are still a bit vague, but between 10 and 20% of people, only 10 or 20% of people will ever click on those paid ads anyway. So you're potentially paying a heck of a lot of money to only hit 20% of the potential clicks. So paying for paid ads can be good. Just like we talked about the modeling night, it can start the circle of traffic, but be very, very careful and decide if you want to compete with the big boys. The second mistake is that you are paying for SEO. Now, paying for SEO is not always a bad thing, but it is a bad thing if you've got no idea what you're paying for. I don't know about you, but I don't want to take my car to the mechanic and the mechanic says, your thingamajig in the Watson-Madoovie is busted, it's going to cost you $1,000. And I go, okay, I guess you better fix it. I want to trust my mechanic and I want to know what they're actually doing. When they give me the report, I want to have a bit of an idea of what they've actually done. Because every month, if you're paying for SEO, you're probably getting a report and you're looking at it going, oh yeah, that's good, I guess you did some work, and you're putting it away. If you're paying for SEO, you need to become educated as to what they're actually doing to make sure that they're doing the right things. Because those things are going to move you forward. And if you don't know what you're paying for, I probably suggest stop paying for it until you know what you're paying for. The third mistake that people make in regards to SEO is that they believe it's all too hard. Now, I really hope that from today, you've actually got some glimpses of things that are actually not that hard. And I'd love to hear people comment and say, great, I think I can implement that today. I think I can implement that straight away. Because SEO really doesn't have to be that hard. Sure, there are some technical stuff in regards to the quality side of things, making sure your website's all up to scratch. Yeah, leave that to the tech heads, leave that to the nerds and the geeks in the computer division. That's fine. But the other three pillars, current, relevant, and authority, you can work on straight away. And if you're thinking in the right way, then you don't have to think it's too hard. I'm not a computer nerd. I'm a photographer who started his business in 2004. And through necessity, back in 2004, marketing was Yellow Pages. It was 20 grand for a full page ad in the Yellow Pages. I was 24 years old and I went, I don't have 20 grand to pay for an ad in the Yellow Pages. What else can I do? Oh, this Google thing, people are starting to search on Google. And I started my journey. It literally took me 7 years through all of that nightmare of paying people lots and lots of money, paying other people to undo what they did, to learn the stuff that I've kind of taught you guys today. And what I've taught you guys today, behind me this whole time has been this sign, SEO Power Plan. I've created an online 5-week course that digs deep into those 4 pillars. And the motto is that you would master your SEO and enjoy the freedom of consistent organic traffic. I hope I've shown you guys that in real estate, if you're just focusing on your area, it is really not that hard to rank for your area. I hope I've kind of dispelled the myth that SEO is all too hard, because now you're just focusing on location, location, location. What would it mean to your business if you had a consistent level of organic traffic coming for your location? Now, every morning when you woke up, there was 1 or 2 inquiries. I closed my photography studio in February. I still do a bit of photography. I do commercial mining photography. I still wake up every day to 1 or 2 inquiries about photography. And I've not paid a cent in marketing for my photography studio since last October. And that's all to do with organic SEO. Again, I've only written 1, maybe 2 blogs this year for photography. I'm not focusing on it. I'm focusing on this and coaching. But honestly, it'll change your life. And it's not that hard. So I want to jump back in and ask any questions before we kind of finish up.
Before we actually ask any questions, guys, I've had the privilege of Nathan gave me some access to this course because, of course, I wouldn't be, bringing him to the folks in my database, introducing him to Ray if I really didn't think this was something we could do. So I pay, like we've said, $1,500 a month. And I'll tell you a little personal story. Nathan actually asked me, say, can I just showcase your website because it kind of sucks with like the images? And I'm like, no, I don't think I want the public flogging. But I'm going to throw myself out there to say, you know what? Yeah, like I paid, okay, and this is I'm going to spew a bunch of really embarrassing numbers out. No judgment though, folks, no judgment. I paid $10,000 for my new website. And Nathan just went and looked at it and basically said, yeah, that sucks. And you know what? That hurts me in my pocketbook. I pay $1,500 a month, and Nathan's exactly right. And again, these are they're friends of mine, and I'm sure they do amazing work. But again, I don't know what's going on. So this program that he's talking about, I went in, I've got access, I've taken the courses. Evidently, I was waiting for today to implement it. Now I've got the kick in the butt to get going. But it's really good stuff, and it's good because I'm a busy person. I've got 4 kids, I run my own business and all that kind of stuff. But I can do this. And so I just want to sort of push that out there to you guys that this is really cool stuff. I love creating courses, and I like courses that are easy to use and don't talk down to you. That's not all this techie gobbledygook. So definitely think that it's worth your while. So tons of questions that are coming in now. Do we have, how do you want to do this? Go ahead, Nathan. It's your show.
Before we jump into the questions. So guys, thanks, Rebecca, for being, for being vulnerable and sharing about that. Honestly, that's why I said 95% of web designers and websites out there really haven't done the simple thing about naming the images. And it is so freaking easy. It is something that you can implement straight away. It is honestly I'll quickly screen share because I want to show you guys how easy it is. So, okay. So, okay, guys, are you seeing my screen?
Yep.
Cool. So here is my photography studio page, pet photography page. Very, very simply. Okay, so you've got a bit of a blurb there. You've got your headings here. Okay, so I didn't get to talk about this in regards to relevant, but basically you want your key search terms in the bold heading at the front of the page. And you know what? That is what we cover in week number 1 of SEO Power Plant. How to work out what your key search terms are and how to implement them on your page. So you can see Pet Photography Perth, very simple. It's relevant to my customers. It's what they're searching for. So if they're typing into Google Pet Photographer Perth, Google's smart enough to know that photographer and photography are interchangeable. But you'll also see that as we go down, we've got photography here. We've probably got, there's another photography, photographic. So I've got interchangeable words. So the question about agent, what other words are people using to search for you? Anyway, we're talking about images. So here is, I'm trying to sell artwork on the wall. So here is an example of what it really looks like. I'm going to right click. I'm in Safari, guys. So right click, view image info, and up comes tech gobbledygook. But don't stress. So up here, you can see, if I highlight this one here, the link address is Archer Imagery. This is in WordPress, this website. It's gone into uploads, and there's the name of my logo, Archer Logo Web 2. Now, that name it's not really relevant to anybody for SEO. It's the Archer logo. But look below it, pregnancy photography, baby photographer, family portraits, pet photo. All of the photos are named what they actually are. So I'm going to scroll down as we go down the bottom, because that's all the menu and stuff. No, that's still in the menu. Okay. So here we're going through the gallery. Scroll up. So you'll see through here, this is the gallery. So happy dog photo is this one here. Happy dog photograph. And then the 150 is the size. Now look at the associated text. That's your alt tag, dog photo in studio. Now it could be dog photo in studio Perth if I wanted it to be. Cute French bulldog. Now it doesn't say Perth, it's not specific. Sorry for those who don't like snakes, but here we go, pet carpet python. So you can see as you click through, 5 pet dogs, black German Shepherd. Now, German Shepherd is very specific. Probably somebody's not going to search for German Shepherd photographer, but it does kind of be relevant to Google. So this is just a really simple way for you to check your, okay, we're down into the like these bits here that don't have alt tags. So don't worry about that. But if you're on your website right now in Firefox, simply right click. So go to the image, right click, view image info. And then what you're looking for is the .jpeg or .png. And you can check straight away, what is my associated text and what is the image called? And is that relevant to my search terms? I'm going to unshare my screen. Oh, sorry, did I do that too quickly, or was that somebody was taking a screenshot?
I think it's okay because again, this whole thing is being recorded, guys. Everyone's going to get a copy. So when he was showing it on my screen, I'll make sure that that it's there. Quick question from Kelly. She was saying that but the photos, we're generally doing this through an uploader such as Locked On. Which is going on multiple sites. Can we do the image naming you talk about, or do we concentrate on other things on our website? I think I get that. It's a couple of questions together.
Yeah, for sure. So what I would do, Kelly, is I would search for Locked On, and I would search for tutorial videos on how to use Locked On, and then specifically type image alt tag or image description and see if there's a way to do that in the program Locked On. And then you can do it and it'll still spew out to multiple websites. So you might be going to reweareandrealestate.com and all that kind of stuff. And it'll go out to all of them, but it'll have those image names, alt tags and descriptions. Now, guys, I did mention alt tags. And here in Australia, it's actually law that you have to have them on your website because it is anti-discrimination against people with a vision impairment to not have them. So the government hasn't clamped down on it, but that's how important it actually is. So over time, Google are going to start to make it even more important because it really makes the web inclusive, but it helps you for SEO. So do it because it is law, and you can check that out if you type in web access law. You really need to have alt tags on your photos legally if you're in Australia.
Nathan, so two things. There's a couple of technical questions coming through, like, how do I make my site HTTPS, right? So, because some people don't have that, how do I do that? Where are the tag descriptions? The photo descriptions, where are the alt tags? That's all in your SEO Power Plant course, right? In terms of how to accomplish all that? Pretty
much. The problem is that people build websites on so many different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got WordPress, you've got Wix, you've got Joomla, you've got Kajabi. It's in a slightly different place in all of those.
Okay.
What this course goes through is kind of how to create them, what to create, and then it's got links. So the main websites are built in WordPress,
mm-hmm.
Wix, and there's one more. Like WordPress has got like 60%. Sorry?
Squarespace does a lot.
Squarespace, that's it. Yeah. Squarespace, Wix, and WordPress. But if you're in the real estate, you might have it built by another company. So it might just be a little bit technical. But for all three of those, WordPress, for example, there's 1,000,001 things to do the same thing. So you simply look at what plugin do you have in the back end, sit down with your web designer for half an hour, jump on the phone, they'll let you into the back end. And then you can go, oh, that's the plugin. There's my gallery. Click on the photo. Oh, there's the name. Now, I just need to say, you can't change the name of your photos unless you re-upload it. Because what happens is there's a link to your photo, and if the name's not there, the photo won't come up. So you can't just go in changing names. You have to re-upload it with a new name. But you can change alt tags and descriptions straight away because that's not the file name, that's other parts of the photo. So the course doesn't specifically say how to do it in your program because there's 20 different programs, but it does tell you what to do and how to do it in regards to, it's simply a YouTube, how to change description, alt and description in WordPress, this plugin, or honestly, Wix and Squarespace, so easy. Just jump in the help menu and it's there. It's really, really easy.
Last question, how do we buy your course?
Okay, then I'll probably need to put a link in the chat box over here.
Do you want me to put the one you sent me?
Yeah, if you've got it there.
Yep, I already had it ready. Whoa, that's a really nasty looking thing.
Whoa.
Oh, it's because you sent it to me in Facebook. Hang on. Let me try to fix
so
that.
What I haven't told you guys, so the course, let me tell you a little bit more about the course. The course is 5 weeks. Now, there are 4 types of people at the end of this webinar. There are people in regards to SEO that don't know what to do. Head in the sand, it's all too hard. There are people who don't know how to do it. There are people who don't have a plan of what to do. And then there's you. You got to decide which one of those 4 you are and what you're going to do about your SEO. Hopefully today, guys, I've given you a little bit of what you need to do, a little bit of how to do it. Your job is to make a plan. I can't do it for you. So grab out your diary. At the end of this webinar, don't check your phone for 5 minutes. Give yourself that permission to write in the diary when you're going to implement some of the stuff that you've learned.
Sorry, the link's not really working so awesome. We will email the link to everybody.
I'll grab it.
If you want to grab it and stick it in chat, that'd be fantastic. And sorry to keep interrupting you there, Nathan. I just want to make sure because people are, we're getting to the top of the hour, and I want to make sure that people get it before they jump. Perfect. That looks a lot better than what mine looked like.
Try that one, guys. Tell me if it works. So decide which one you guys are. You know a little bit of what to do. You know a little bit of how to do it. Are you going to implement it? And what difference is it going to make to your business? So let me tell you about SEO Power Plan. It's 5 weeks. It is me talking. So if you're sick of my voice already, don't buy it. I'm cool with that. But if you're happy to listen to me just like this for 5 weeks, and they're broken into approximately 7 to 12 minute videos. So it is chunked out. Each video has homework, frameworks, stuff for you to go through, fill in the blanks, fill it in for your website and implement it. So as I said, guys, I'm into implementation. I want you to do this on your website. I want you to be on front page of Google. I want you to have that confidence of consistent organic traffic. The price, this 5-week course is normally $347 US. And I know we've got people from all over the world, but what we've organized today from Rebecca and Ray is that we're doing it for $347 Aussie dollars. So Aussie, Canadian, very, very similar. For you guys in the US, basically that's a 30% discount. For us guys in Australia, yes, it's a 30% discount from the normal price of US dollars. The only thing I must say, guys, is because people are all over the world, it's plus tax. So whatever the tax is in your area, it's $347 Australian dollars plus tax. And I believe in this course so much that I'm giving you a 21-day money-back guarantee. So after 3 weeks, if you've jumped in and you don't find its value, ask for your money back. No questions asked, I'll give you it back. But you'll miss out on week 4 and week 5. You'll miss out on the real stuff that's going to get you to soar. Week 1, relevant. Week 2, current. Week 3, quality. Week 4, authority. Week 5, plugging the holes. What the heck are you going to do with all of this traffic that you're going to get when you implement this stuff? How are you going to make sure that you capture all their data and that you turn that traffic, those leads, into real sales? That's week 5 of SEO Power Plan. So $347 Aussie dollars plus whatever tax from wherever you guys are in the world. And that's only because you're on the webinar here today.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I know personally because I already have access. Totally worth it. And I'm working my way through it, piece by piece. It's on my plan. But I mean, in order to get something done, you got to kind of schedule it into your system. So I find that really helpful in terms of getting this done, is scheduling to not only watch the videos, but then taking another half hour to an hour in my week as these drip out to say, okay, I'm going to implement this as well. So that was absolutely fantastic, Nathan. Ray, were there any questions that we missed? I didn't know if I missed any.
I've got a quick question, Nathan. Firstly, if you're going to hire somebody, you're going to spend $1,500 a month, flat out. If anybody good, I mean, quality, anything less than that, you're not getting it. And 1,500, I don't really know. That's like 18 grand a year. So imagine if you can do this for under $400 Australian. I reckon that's a super sweet deal. Am I right in saying that week one, it's time released? So week one, you can't get week two until week two. So week one, you process that, you study it, you look at it, you can watch the videos as many times as you want, and then you implement and get ready for week two. Because I really like that idea. Is that the way it works?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
okay.
You go in, say you buy the course today, you get the introduction. So in the introduction, we go through just a little bit about this stuff. I explain a little bit of the terminology. It's only like a 7-minute video where we talk about things that you'll hear in SEO land, you know, like the mechanic talking about the what's a Madoovy and the thingamajig in your car. We want you to know kind of what some of the bits are. And then it's straight into week one, and video 2 in week 1 is implementation. So on the worksheets, so if you guys can see it there, module 1, be relevant. So we go through and you start to do stuff straight away. Video 2, work out your keywords. We get them on your site. There's even like links to tools about the keyword tools. And then you have a worksheet to say, right, what am I going to implement? What page? Who's the target? What keywords am I going to implement on that page? So the second video in each week gets you to implement something straight away. And then there's another 2 or 3 videos teaching you more. But it's made for implementation. If you don't implement, the course is worth nothing.
Just quick in response, g'day Lee, how you doing? Lee's question, I've been advised that SEO is not worth worrying about as it's all now about social media. Your thoughts, Nathan? Just before Nathan answers, I just did a quick search for real estate Mooloolaba, which is where Lee's from, and there's 1,300 global monthly searches, which can only be relevant to Australia. So I would say that SEO, and specifically SEO as to Google, is worth worrying about more than ever, Lee, would be my answer.
Simple question for you, Lee. Do you search for a product that you want to buy on social media? When you are ready to buy. So Jerry Harvey from Harvey Norman, he was quoted in saying, why do I spend money for full page ads in every Saturday paper? Because the guy looking for a TV this week wasn't looking last week. Social media, you need people to follow you, or you have to pay to put your ad in front of them. The guy looking for your business wasn't looking last week. So the ad that you paid for on social media last week, that person didn't see. SEO, when you go to buy something, you jump into Google. When you go to search for a service, when you want some information, you go to Google. Social media is great, and I'm not saying don't use social media. I use social media a lot, and I spend money on paid advertising on social media. But it's one of the pillars that I use to drive my whole marketing in my business. SEO is something that I don't have to worry about because I've got that freedom of that consistent traffic. Whereas social media, if I don't post tomorrow, if I don't post next week, it goes cold.
Yeah.
SEO,
yeah.
So I don't think SEO is the be all and the end all, but I think it's got to be part of a marketing campaign. And the thing is, if you're doing stuff for SEO, if you're writing posts, you've already half written a blog anyway. If you're providing good content to your customers on SEO, take that and put that on a blog on your website.
That's it.
Helpful?
That's great. Yeah, I thought it was helpful. I mean, Lee can't talk, so we're gonna go. Yeah, that was helpful. That was great. But you know, so great answer. And again, as a social media expert, I completely agree with you that social media, it's a stream. It disappears, but you can repurpose that content and have it appear on your blog. Like if any of you guys out there are into video, one of the things I like to do is if I have a video that I think is really relevant and current and helpful and all that kind of thing, I get it transcribed through rev.com for 10 cents a minute. And then I go in and I edit it so it sounds okay. And then I put that on my website, right? So, you know, you can create this content without having to like blow your brains out. So if you do like to do video, and video is great for social, you can actually also repurpose it and have it work on Google as well. It's killing two birds with one stone.
And video, as the internet gets faster, video will be even more a part of SEO. So at the moment, you know, Google doesn't tell us exactly what they're doing, but right now, if you've got a video on your website and you've got the captions on your video, Google's able to read those captions. Mm-hmm. So those captions, the words that are in those captions, are helping your SEO. So don't, again, you can't compartmentalize. You've got to kind of think of the links between. So video on your website, if you interviewed and got a testimonial from somebody in an interview context, yes, you could transcribe that and use that in a written context. But if you put the closed captions on the video, Google can read that too.
Yeah. And again, I use rev.com, so I'll just put that in you guys can use whatever service you want. I just had really good accuracy at like bargain basement prices at rev.com for transcribing all types of videos. So that's awesome. Okay, well, Nathan, I don't know, Ray, if you've got any more questions coming through. I think that's all we've seen for now. We have gone over the hour. I mean, we're not turning into vampires, but I think we should probably let everybody go, either to have their lovely day in Australia or go to sleep here in Canada.
I've got one question. How long are you leaving this deal open for, Nathan? How long are 347 Australian as opposed to, because that's 347 Australian that's like over 500 US, or 347 US the other way around, I mean, so expensive.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's 30% off. So yeah, Monday. You got to jump in between now and Monday.
So Monday the something or other, 9th?
So Monday at midnight. Wherever you are in the world, the deal closes Monday at midnight. Your midnight. Because it's like, yeah, it's you know, it's the internet, it's all that. The thing is, guys, you have a 21-day money-back guarantee. So jump in, check it out. Do module 1. No, can't stand Nathan's face. Fine. Ask for your money back. Hopefully you don't do that.
Nah, you're great. You're charming. I've listened to his videos, guys. Don't listen to him. He's great.
Cool. So yeah. So Monday, you got till Monday, guys. Think about it. Implement stuff. If I had to say one thing to finish off the whole webinar, is that this doesn't work unless you implement. So write one thing down that you are going to do this week on your website, whether it's write a blog, whether it's just change up a page about you know, your about page, edit that up, put some new paragraphs in, change a photo, whatever. Do one thing this week and your website will be more current and it will be more relevant than all your competition because it's been updated the most recently.
I think we can all do that.
I'll just say one final thing to the real estate agents listening. Somebody woke up this morning and they searched real estate agent, your territory, your area. If you didn't get that call, or if your ID or link didn't come up on page 1 of Google, they're not going to look for it on page 2, 3, or 4. You are invisible, and all that work that you've put into your website is for nothing. So can I suggest to all my agent friends, back the F up out of your website and get stuck into using this SEO content, because otherwise you're paying for something that you're not using. I mean, real estate agents, they rely on the bigger portals. You can get all the traffic in the world to your own page if you put the content out there. So I've been saying this for ages, and you know what? There's so many agents that are not doing this. There is a huge opportunity for you guys on this call that want to get involved in it and want to check it out. So seriously, we're only talking about a lot of money here, right? You imagine if you got one extra, what's your average GCI? Is it 10 grand? Is it 8 grand? Is it 12 grand? Imagine if you got just one of those extra every month, just one every month. What sort of an ROI do you think you'd be getting? I tell you what would happen. You'd be addicted to the income in no time at all, and you'd have to hire a very good tax accountant. So,
and that's not a bad problem to have.
That's a quality. That's a problem right here. So get in, guys, and do it. This is a great way to beat your competition to the punch. There's so many dinosaurs and idiots out there in real estate, especially. You can jump in and you can take the high ground and you can start owning it. Can you do it in 5 minutes? No. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But I've checked out Nathan's course. I've gone through it module by module. It is the bomb, and it's the exact, and you've just heard Nathan, he's a terrific presenter. Congratulations, by the way, Nathan. I haven't seen a full presentation like this before. It was awesome. So he takes you through everything step by step so you can implement it too, right? If you're going through something and you don't get it, the beauty of a course is that you just hit pause and rewind and go back and listen to it again. And you know what, Nathan, I'm sure you're going to be in the background somewhere. You've got contact points. If people have questions, he's here to help as well. Or just contact me or Rebecca. We'll track him down. But he's a stand-up guy, and hey, he's a West Australian. What can I say?
What I didn't say, Ray, is there is actually a Facebook group. So once you buy the course, I send you invite to the Facebook group, and the Facebook group is to share people's wins. So when you start saying,
I love that.
Wasn't that hard? I got this. I've done my first blog. I've changed this. 2 weeks time, Google's indexed my page. We've seen, we're stuff's happening. What do I do about this, guys? And other people can, you can't comment on each other. So there's that social encouragement aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing, jumping off what you just said, Ray, I did the research for Joondalup, which is the area, that I'm in here. And there were, apart from all of those paid stuff and the big Rewas and realestate.coms and all that kind of stuff, there were 2 websites for smaller agencies, not big franchises, smaller agencies on the front page. I went to those websites. I did the simple click on the photo that I showed you guys before. And would you believe, image 1, image 2, not relevant at all. And they were on the front page. And that's why I know small stuff, simple stuff will make a difference, especially in the real estate industry, because nobody's freaking doing it. Mm-hmm. It's low-hanging fruit and it's ready for you guys for the picking.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, a huge bolt of lightning went off here, so somebody upstairs hears you as well.
Oh, I was wondering what happened. I'm like, this is a big impactful moment. I might have to go to the washroom, actually. That's right. On that note,
we're going to call it a day.
We're going to call it a day or a night or an event for Ray. Thank you so much, Nathan. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate this presentation. For everyone still listening, this is going to be sent to you guys to record. It's going to take a little bit to render. I'll make sure that everyone gets it. It'll include a link to the course. Remember, you have until Monday, September the 9th at midnight, wherever you live. There's people from New Zealand, Portugal, US, Canada. So wherever it is that midnight hits you, after that, it goes back up again by 30%. So it's well worth the money. Trust the girl who spends $18,000 a year. All right, guys, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and I wish you all the best. Nathan.
Well done, Nathan. 2 thumbs up.